Bags are useful for so many reasons, and the more creative and useful it is, the more sense it makes. Today, I'm joined by Grace Mbuga, who is the founder of Jeilo Collections, and she will be sharing her story on how she started Jeilo Collections and her inspiration so far. Welcome, Grace.
Thank you very much.
So maybe you can tell us, who is Grace?
Grace Mbuga is a born-again Christian, a mother of 3, married to a great man who is also a co-founder of Jeilo, Mr. Mbugua. I am, what else? Okay, so, and I'm passionate about the things I do and the service in the kingdom of God, because my work goes beyond just being a producer and a manufacturer, but also impacting lives. So I'm excited to be a part of Jeilo as a family.
Wow. And what is Jeilo Collections? And just describe to us exactly. I know it has a meaning for you, and also you can tell us that.
When we started Jeilo and the work that we do, it was inspired by an experience, a personal experience that I had. Previously, before I came into business, I was running a non-government organization which called WELL. And for 20 years, I had been working with women and different women of survivors of violence and people who had gone through experiences. And during that was more of education, economic empowerment, training, and imparting values on how we treat women even as a country. So one of the things that came out in my experience was also education. We used to use materials and products. At that point, we used to use bags, we used to use accessories that have a message, that will carry the message. And so during that season, we used to have to look for items that we would brand, particularly bags. And it was very difficult to get the kind of brand. And those days, there were not as many people producing bags as today. And so one of the challenge I had was to get someone who would meet like the order we would be making of more than 3,000 bags that are branded and made locally, because most of the times you'd get things that are there, they're available, but made in China. And I'm very conscious about where we would source. So one of the things, because I know eventually where you source is where you employ. Yeah. And I want to employ Kenyans. So one of the things that we did was to look for bags. So people would do bags. And even if they were small, we would look for spaces, would hire the spaces and bring them together with their machines, so that they are trained and they are supported for quality control by somebody who is from our side. So we would source a trainer who would spend time with them, with their machines, and make sure that they are producing the product. But that was my vision, not necessarily the people I was engaging. So after the events and after maybe the order that we were doing, they would all go back to their own personal spaces. So which meant that this was not sustainable. And so as a business, we decided to think through, okay, so my need was not necessarily everybody else's need. And so the gap that I had found, I needed to address it, and professionally. Again, when you go to a place and you say you're called Mama Kawan Kenya Empowerment, it just switches you off to some group, which is like a chama, which is not even efficient and likely to fail you in your order. So we got those connotations in different places. And so we discussed with my husband and decided to create Jeilo Collections. And we changed the name because it means a lot to us. As Christians, we believe that Jesus is our Lord and our Master. And so what it meant was to make a conscious decision and name our business Jeilo. So one of the things that we recognized is, as much as we started a business where we were working with other people, we needed to have a more structured way to make the business more sustainable and also have an impact. Because most of the times when you're doing things that have any connotation or any link to some level of donation free things, it means it's not sustainable. So we needed something that makes it a sustainable business, professionally done, and also profitable. And so we decided to go ahead and identify a space where we would do this, but that was first in our house. The first space was actually the servants' quarter, and we converted it to be a resource center. This was after we got our first orders, because initially we used to do outsourcing. We would go to fundis and they would make for us, I just monitor that they would make what I have given them as my order. But when we got now full blast orders, we realized we needed to have a more centralized way. So we converted our servants' quarter and put together a way of make sure that we produce there. So we put in our 2 machines there, and they started growing because now the orders were increasing, and now we were supplying supermarkets. So we needed to come up with a plan on how we are going to do this, because now by the time we were about to move, we had entered into the in our corridors. We were in our corridors. We took 1 bedroom and we went to the dining room with our small machines and everything. So machines, place tables to do your cutting, everything. So we started extending into the house, and we realized that now the business was ready to outgrow the house. And so we moved here. We took just a small space first, just to this end. And we put the machines here. At that time, the space looked so big, you know, and growth is actually something that I must say is a focus for every business. So we started that way, and the rest is history.
Amazing. And how did you get into leather and fabric? At what point?
Okay, so we started with fabric. From that time, as time went on, I was very interested in learning and increasing knowledge to be able to grow the business, because you know the business grows as you grow yourself. So if you're limited, or you don't have staffing or people, human resource that are actually ahead of you, sometimes it becomes a limitation. And so what we did, I was very looking for opportunities of training and everything, and ended up in a training with Export Promotion Council then, which is now known as KEPROBA. So I got in immediately and got enrolled. In fact, I entered the last day of the enrollment for the next training that was coming up, and that was 2015. So we went through a training which went on for 1 year, 2015, 2016. And the training was how to prepare to produce products for export market, what is required and expectations. At this point, well, it looked like a sea of information, but I think it was very variable because it accelerated me to get into the market. And from there, I was able to quickly be able to get into the supermarkets. So quickly after that, we went to one of the things that was clear is that bags in the international market that is growing and is of demand is actually for leather. And so we started exploring. I remember the first time we were told that for us to work with you for export, you need to have leather as one of your core raw materials, as this is what the market requires. And so that means a lot of training, a lot of understanding. And so I went to Bata. That time I only knew the only people who sell leather is Bata.
Yeah.
And so I visited Bata, but I didn't have knowledge on there's a difference between which leather for shoes, for belts, for handbags. So I bought all this leather out of excitement. Oh, this would look nice in a bag. But it was actually a shoe leather. That was the first leather that I bought.
Did you make a shoe?
No, I made a bag. But I used it. Luckily, now I went to outsource to look for who is doing the leather kind of stitching. I got some few people, and I also started looking for a school where I would learn. Also, there's one in Thika. I went to Thika. I realized this is not practical. I can't manage to go to Thika for 3 months. So I started looking also. I got one that's called Kildi. Kildi has a section of leather. And I started going there for training, especially just to be understanding how do you select leather? What are some of the things that you need to recognize? What are some good leather? What is the one for bags and everything? And that's where I realized that I had bought leather for shoes. And then I learned how to do basics of cutting patterns and everything. But I realized that I needed more learning because my background had nothing to do with this. And so I moved into what we call the school of YouTube. And I learned everything about stitching. I started doing cutting for myself. I did stitching in the house until I could do leather. And that's because I knew I cannot go to advise somebody else about what kind of a product I want when I have no clue and no understanding. And that's how I learned about how to do leather bags. So from there, we incorporated it, and we started by incorporating it as a part of the fabric bags. And we still do. We have an aspect of fabric and leather, which is key for us because First, it also reduces the costs for the consumers. Sometimes the consumer wants an aspect of leather, and I don't want a very expensive bag. But so we try to make and create products that our customers would appreciate and will serve them.
Wow. From the school of YouTube, so where do you source your leather and other raw materials?
Okay, so every of our products, we actually source them locally. Some may have come from imports, but we still source them from the local markets. Because that's a conscious effort that we've made as a business to source ethically. And so you know where these people have produced this. It's easier for me to go to thicker cloth mill and I get my fabric, which is canvas, and that's most of the fabric that we use. Then I'll go to, for the leather, I go to the tanneries, the actual tanneries that we have here. We have tanneries like Sagana, we have Aziz Leather, we have Alfa Rama, and for a long time we all used to source from LIK, which is known as the Leather Industries of Kenya in Thika. I think most people knew it for many years, been there for long, but currently not operating. So we have engaged in different sources when it comes to our raw materials, but consciously sourcing them in the local market.
Amazing. And do you have like work with this, because your background, you've worked with some of the women who produce these materials. Maybe can you talk to us about that and how did you come to even know about them?
When it comes now to the work that you will do, we try to put an African touch on our products. And so one of the things that we have done is take bidding. So we work with women who are from, most of the time, Kibiku, which is Gong. They are Maasai women. The Maasai community, we know that they inspire most of our bidding. And so even if there is anybody else who has adapted it, it comes from their information and their art when it comes to bidding. So you'll find some of our products have bidding and a touch that will make it local. And localize it. Then for the inside, we look also for the African fabric. You can see like this is a Maasai fabric. Yes. So we will put something that is African in the bag. Like the lining most often fabric. And then also the backpacks that we make for schools. Sometimes people want just a touch of kitenge. I can see you have the computer bags that we do for corporates. They can have an African touch, which is key also for our products. So ultimately, whatever we produce, we source from different suppliers, but as much as possible, have what is actually made in Kenya, because we are made in Kenya.
Made in Kenya. So from 2015, from the time of joining the business until now, that's quite a long time in business. What can you say maybe has been your experience in the market and being a Kenyan for Kenyan business? How has been the reception in the market as well?
We still have a lot of work to do in educating Kenyans to value what is produced in Kenya. There is a notion that maybe the products may not be as competitive as they should be with maybe competing with China or something. But I think it's time for us as Kenyans to believe in our products. First, because every time we buy an imported product, we are actually employing somebody else who is not Kenyan. So we have a responsibility to make sure that we give back to our communities by supporting the Kenyan brands. And with that, even the other countries grew by support which started at home. And then they grew to other countries. Because whatever I've been able to sell here, it means I can sell it somewhere else. So as a business, I'm able to export once I've started here. So one of the things I would say, you know, I've tried many businesses. You mentioned earlier about the history in entrepreneurship. I tried many businesses. I'll tell you, I was one time having a butchery. As you laugh, I've realized that as an entrepreneur, you keep changing and shaping up until you're able to know where you are and where your heart is. So I can say that over time, I've learned that creating products is very fulfilling for me as much as it's fulfilling for my customers. I will see and people carrying my bags on the road and I want to, you know, take pictures with them. You know, I'm so excited because it means it's serving someone. And it's our prayer even as whenever we release the products here, so the Lord may use our products to be a blessing to someone, whoever buys it.
Maybe you can talk to us about the challenges that you faced along the way. Sourcing locally. I know there's a notion of the fundis in Kenya, how they delay on delivery and also just doing the work that is given to them. What has been your experience with that, and how have you been able to overcome some of the challenges?
The story of fundi is a culture, but businesses determine the culture of their own. So as a business here, delivery on time is key. And communication to our partners is critical for our clients, because they have given you a deadline. And if that deadline passes, it means you have lost an opportunity of trust. So for me, that is critical. So as a business, we have parameters. And in the event that there could be a reason for anything, because some of things may be beyond your control. I would say something like sourcing for leather. Leather, if you're very specific on your color, it will take 14 days for you to get your product. 14 days for them to deliver and not for me to produce. So then I have to come to my site where now the process starts. So if there is any delay, I make sure that my client is well aware that if you choose this product, I have to go and check if it's available in the market. And in the event it's not, from my suppliers, these are the consequences and the impact it means. So delivery on time is critical for us and gives the image for the business. And I remember that is one of the things that drove me to actually start producing bags. I couldn't get made in Kenya, my bags on time and done in the quality that I wanted. So I'm dealing with that gap. So coming in, my responsibility is to make sure that this gap is well addressed. Make sure that my clients are happy and I'm able to deliver on time. Communication, keeping, like all the time, communication. Then also the fact that the client is getting what they asked for. So as a business, the culture of meeting our deadline is critical, and we have integrated it to our staff, because now here they are no longer foodies. Here they are staff members and a team that make Jeilo. So at the end of it all, everybody else is a part player in delivering to our customers what they are asking for.
Oh. And,
so in terms of challenges, you mentioned about challenges. In the business, there are many other types of challenges that I could say, but I think that is where you get partners like KUA. Yeah, when it comes to financing, because our kind of business is you're paid after 60 days, 30 days, 90 days. So it means that a lot of your cash is actually held. So that for many of the businesses who are doing bulk production like us, it's a very conscious determination to make sure that your workflow and your working capital is sustained.
Maybe you can talk to us when you joined KUA Ventures and at what point you joined, how that journey has been so far.
KUA came with Sinapis to visit us. They were a group that had come to visit past or alumni of Sinapis. Sinapis is a training center for Kingdom Business. So they had gone to visit there as a whole team of potential investors. And they said they would like to meet some of the businesses who have benefited from Sinapis. And so their Peter Fly was in the team, and that was 2018. So we had a discussion with everybody else, and we had a connection with KUA from there. We started discussion at that point. They used to be called Ed Poverty. So KUA is new.
Poverty. KUA is Kenyan.
It's a part of Ed Poverty. So they came, and they say they usually invest on training to make sure that they support SMEs to be investor ready. Well, when they came in, there were so many things that we needed to do, and we did it for a whole year with their technical support. They gave us somebody in marketing, they gave us someone in accounts, they supported us with technical support even for how to pitch, what are some of the things that you do, what are the preparations that you require, what is it that they look for as investors, whether it is them or somebody else that will invest in us, what is that we needed. So in 2018 and 2019 and a little bit of 2020, but 2020 was more virtual when COVID happened. So most of it we were still doing. And by 2019, we had our audited books, we had our systems in place, we had procured all the things that we needed. And by the time KUA was now established, I think around 2020, 21, is we were ready for absorbing capital from KUA. And so we started the journey together. They have really been great resource. A lot of coaching even for me also and my staff. We attend and we love the sessions, the frequent coaching sessions, and even identifying our gaps as businesses, and organizing sessions where we get to be taken through trainings, and also sessions where we can be meeting potential consultants when it comes to our businesses. So I think for me, KUA has been more of a partner than just an investor.
And any key milestones that maybe you have seen since you joined the KUA's family?
Yeah, the one I've mentioned, we didn't have proper systems, accounting systems. We put them in place around that time. We had Excel sheets, but now you realize those ones cannot suffice as the business grows. So one of the things that was that we're able to also get into product development, training, getting other people who can support us. We also looked into exploring retail markets, which was something that as a business we always wanted to do, identifying retail shops and being able to see if our products can actually grow through that. Though we recognize we are more of manufacturers and bulk producers for others, not directly retailers, because those are two models that require different strategies. So for us, manufacturing works best and it actually sustains us. And we are able to channel more products for the market. Yeah.
And being a woman in manufacturing comes with maybe its own share of challenges and also opportunities. Maybe speaking as a woman now in this manufacturing space and the Kenyan business landscape, are there any notable experiences that you can mention through your business that you've learned and also you've experienced that you can share?
I think after working so many years with women rights and women-related advocacy, I recognized actually people want confident people out there. Not necessarily knowing you just because you're a woman, but a woman who knows where she's going and with a focus. So what I recognized is when I go out as somebody carries the name Jeilo Collections, they don't ask, is it a woman's business? What they look is my product. So I want a product that will speak for me. And by the time I'm coming out, it really doesn't matter. Is it a woman or a man that runs the business? So I carry the face of the business behind the scenes because there are so many other people who are actually selling on our behalf. And hardly would you hear that. So I really would love to encourage women. I know there are challenges, but some of them we can overcome by our confidence and focus, knowing that this is what you've decided to do. This is my career. I've decided I want to be a business person. I want to carry a product that is competitive. When it's in the shelf in Carrefour, my products don't carry any name except the name of the business. So I encourage everyone else to focus on the bigger picture. Let your business speak for itself.
As a businesswoman, as a mother, as a wife, how have you been able to deal with that mix?
I must say that my greatest hero is my husband. He's very supportive. Whenever I've had challenges, I know my pillar. I know whom to go to as much as I go to my Heavenly Father. He cheers me on first, you know, like the first person to believe in my idea and whatever, that I'm coming up and even testing new things. He's the first source of strength. So I must say that my children are now young adults who are working. At that point, when I was younger, when we were starting the business, that's about 7 years now, they were younger, and every single day I took them to school, every single day in the morning. When the business was a little younger, I used to pick them as well at 3 o'clock. So I did that from their entire school life until they went to university, when they now became independent. And because that is the only time I'm able to connect and know about their lives. That's when I get to know what is happening in their school, what are challenges, where are they being bullied, or what is the challenge they're having in school, because they talk throughout at that age. So for me, it was very key to connect with them. So business or no business, my family comes first. And I value the fact that God has given me wonderful children, and a great husband, now 26 years old, 26 years of marriage. So the part of their lives now, now we connect almost online. You know, children at this age, they are independent and they are moving on. So connection point is the part that I needed to also be very active was then. But even now, I know that set time, when we do our home fellowship or whatever that we do as a family is key, and that I cannot take away. And that is why I'm conscious to put time aside on my family time. If it is on Saturday or whatever the time, that's a conscious effort that you have to put in business. Whether you are a woman or not, you just have a responsibility to your family, because if anything is bad is happening at home, you can't concentrate in your workplace. So once that you're at peace, you more or less are able to drive everything else, every other agenda. Yeah.
That's really inspiring to say that you have the balance of we can say work-life balance, because if you're able to manage your family and still have time for your business, which is thriving. And that takes me to my other question about this place where we are at Jeilo right now. Speaking on the impact and also maybe job opportunities that you've been able to create, what can you say that has transformed for the 7 years?
Wow. I don't know how many people we have employed or have passed through our hands. I will not tell you in totals. But one thing I know is that we've gone into highs where you're having over 30 staff members, and there are times that depending on the seasons, you also have a lower number. So one of the things that we do is we believe in training and giving people opportunities to learn. And so that is one of the ways to nurture the young people, as you say. So we work with NITA. NITA gives us the students who come here for the 3 months, and some of them are absorbed as employees of Jeilo. So that is one of the things that we do as a way of impact. And then being in this community, we have quite a number of our staff who come from around here. And then you see whenever you have need for casuals, you identify people to mobilize them from around. I remember when we were doing in 2020, because immediately COVID hit, we went home for 2 weeks, and I really prayed and asked the Lord.
Did you close the office?
We only closed for about 1 week, 1.5 weeks. And in that season, I remember my husband telling me, think about these masks. How are these masks being done? So the first day we attempted to make masks. We spent the entire day here doing one mask. You know, like you would do this and it goes smashes on your face, or it doesn't fit because it's something that we hadn't done before. But I tell you, it was our lifeline throughout COVID until 2021 ended. We produced masks for the government, we produced masks for schools, we did a lot of product, and that really enhanced our, that is where you know how God works. That even in that season, He gave us a way out. I remember Him telling me, make just one flyer. I'll help you, we send it out. Because He was also concerned, we have employees. You're thinking, okay, so now you're going to let them go, or what will you do? And these are families. People represent families. On average in a Kenyan home, you'll be having like 5 people depending on you. So once you are gone, we know that as much as we want to have quality in terms of people we have employed, at times you have to let people go. The priority comes to how much can we do to sustain this person. And so he told me, do a flyer. Let's send it out and see. We sent out the flyer, and the following day we found a queue here outside our door in the morning, because there was curfew, so the day was short. So we were coming to the office at 7 o'clock, and there were people here waiting to buy masks. So we channeled masks after mask. We bought machines. We produced the only thing we couldn't do 24 hours because of those whole curfew thing. And there was a panic and everything. But that was a lifeline, because nobody was carrying a bag. No school was opened. Nobody was traveling. Nobody was going to work. Everybody where bags are used, we had to rejuvenate and create ourselves. And so we did bags, we did clothing, because there were few events that were happening. So in those few events, people still wanted to do clothes. There were we just asked ourselves, like, Moses, what do you have in your hands?
And did that inform your business strategy going forward in terms of products?
Yeah, it influenced because we created a whole line of products. We created, everybody was at home. So we did pet beds for dogs. We did, we had to be creative. We did home cozy things. We did bin bags, as in we had to do what people needed then. And so we created, and then there we created a market because we were supplying other shops. So they still order those products. They may not be our core business, but they still are part of our products that we produce. So that's what happens now. You just have to be in business throughout.
Innovative.
Yeah, creative. Then the other aspect is, you see, as much as we are producing, there is waste. When it comes to waste, we have created ways of using the waste to maximize on our raw materials. So we create new products that actually go to the market. Behind you, you will see a table mat, small table mat. You'll see a mouse pad. You see, so all these are from waste. So we create new products. So we could call it circular economy, where you new products from your waste.
That takes me to my other question of the fashion industry being one of the biggest waste producers. And I just wanted to find out, how do you manage your waste? And it's amazing to see that.
There is always a new product you can do with the waste. We try and make sure that we have the most minimal waste. So we create also small items like small animals from the waste material. See, when you cut fabric, you are left with small pieces.
Yes.
So you stuff them inside a small animal. So you get to see the small animals. So what I'm trying to say is we try to maximize on our raw materials, because again, that one also is a way of sustaining ourselves as a business. Because as much as I give that, especially when you're doing large productions, there's a lot of waste. So coming up with a strategy, so we just train the community here. The once in a while, they come and we stuff and make those small animals. And they are all sold in curio shops, in shops for tourists. They are also home decor items. So creativity is a part of our sustainability plan. And going again to also how we manage and do this, it's integrated within our training, within our staff. So everybody knows we never throw away waste. We have done what is called Kaizen model. Kaizen model is a continuous improvement. So you're always improving your business. You're always looking for where there is a gap and coming up with a strategy to address that gap. So as a business, that is one of the ways that we do. We maximize on our space. So you'll see in our production, we use even the walls. So that's called Kaizen model of making sure that you sort out your way so that it's easier to, and you save time. It's the Japanese model where you save time, whenever you need to pick something,
you get it very close.
So I must say that there are so many things that we've had to do. Sustainability becomes a part of us. Training is continuous, and the model that we have adapted is also to have trainees coming in on board, and where possible, refer them to our networks, partners, or fairly, I would say, competitors who may need skilled labor. And sometimes we have beyond the ones that we've been trained. So we are ready to refer them and we talk with them. And we usually say these days, it's more not competition, it's more of complementation. Because what I make is not what the other partner makes.
So looking at Jeilo, the future plans and aspirations, what are you looking at in the next 5 years?
Well, the Bible wisdom says that you don't sell the secrets before your time. But I would say definitely we hope to be able to grow ourselves as a business and be able to have more employees when it comes to impacting lives, be able to give products and serve our market and actually remove China from Kenya. And it is very possible, yes, because we can do the bags that they do and employ Kenyans to produce those bags. So I think there is there is no limit. We have the ability to grow as much as we want. And as a business, we do have plans to grow and to be able to channel more products into our market and also export market.
I love that dream, and I'm rooting for you to eliminate China from Kenya.
Yeah, by the grace of God, trusting His wisdom.
Kenyans for Kenya.
Even China came and replaced Kenyan companies. As in, there is a place for us to take back what belongs to us.
We will take back what belongs to us. And finally, just a final word. You can say any final word that you want to say to any person who is listening to us, some of our entrepreneurs, and also our Core Ventures community.
So in terms of getting into business, I encourage everyone to jump in on the boat. Let's swim together. Let's build the Kenyan manufacturing sector. In terms of KUA, thank you so much for being there for us, supporting us, coaching us, building a community where we have a support system, because sometimes the journey of entrepreneurship can be lonely. And so when you get others who are going through similar challenges, you are encouraged. Then again, I must say that trusting God in your business, let it be your pillar, because in the end, He never fails. Human beings may fail us, but God will never fail us. He's faithful and He keeps to His promise. Encouraging those ones who have only heard about KUA. KUA Ventures is a good partner when it comes to financial support, working with them for technical support as you grow and get ready to actually absorb investor partnership. Thank you very much, and wishing you all a blessed season.
Thank you so much, Grace. And to all those who are listening to us or watching us, that has been Grace Mbuga from Jeilo Collections. I have been your host. My name is Pamela Oputoi, and see you on the next episode.